it can get pretty spicy on your Doom depending on your mystery combination. Knight-Errant 7% Doom. Yeah, this is Jared and MML. This is my second first impression of the Knight-Errant backstory gameplay-wise. So if you're looking for lore and whatnot, I'm gonna go over more of the balance design and how it interacts with mysteries, and basically how I look at it as a whole when I go on a run. So I'm going to structure this video into talking about a Knight-Errant backstory with every single mystery alphabetically. Then I'm going to go over a few start of runs, basically looking at combinations of 5 mysteries together and how I go through them. So hopefully it helps you kind of plan out your runs on True Believer anyway. Again, this is all balanced toward a random True Believer run, or it's just a True Believer run in general, so yeah, I think that's pretty nice. Anyway, I'm going to make a cut here because I actually recorded. I was doing a recording for both the Old God and the backstory, but ultimately I'm going to separate them. This is my sit down and review of Knight-Errant backstory. Please enjoy. Going to cut right now. So we'll get into the Knight-Errant backstory. I might as well go in alphabetical order. So we'll start off with arms, but I will look at everything in general, like if you get 5 mysteries in a row. So we'll start with arms. Arms is pretty easy, nothing really to say there. You get it whether you get the tiny key or not. You get ending A and you should be out. Either way, I recommend you get the tiny key anyway, barring maybe the hospital being at max threat level. So, but other than that, you should be moderately fine to get arms. There's nothing really. That's an easy one in my book. As for the next one, alphabetically, well, pretty much the hardest one, Botanist, you need Mermaids. If you don't have Mermaids in your run, you're not getting ending A. Unless Panstaz chooses to let us do ending B to get out of it, if that's programmed in at a later date. Otherwise, you're not getting ending A without Mermaids. And even if you could, I would not recommend it, because the steps to do ending A on Botanist, especially on a True Believer run, is very, very painful to you. You have to do Mermaids ending A, so, I mean, by definition of Botanist A, you will have done Mermaids A. And then if going into Botanist A, you have to do at least 3 actions. Base damage is going to be -2 all, so it's going to be -6 all, and at that point, I already don't want to do that, because when you look at your resources, that's 6 stamina, 6 reason, versus the 7% doom that you could just do by just not taking the encounter, or any damage, if you're doing that ending. So, yeah, I would recommend you not do that, but if you're prepared with the healing items at the ready, or you somehow manage your resources to be near topped off to survive, then go ahead and do that. Like, say you have Kana into Botanist, maybe you want to do it, maybe you want the do-it-yourself flamethrower, which is a very, very good weapon, on par with the katana. If not better, then you can do it. Otherwise, on the average run, I would not assume you would go to do that. Next alphabetically is Bulletin. Bulletin, the new mystery, but it's also straightforward, so it's not hard to do it unless you purposely want max stamina and an encounter, or you want to just take the -3 reason loss, which I guess you could do, because maybe the forest, which is your side investigation, is at max threat level. So say right here, so you're taking extra doom penalty for investigating this twice. That's at least 4% doom, barring any weird things maybe you run into encounter, but that's an encounter, so. And then whatever 2 events you get, if you fail both events, then maybe it's not worth the 7% doom. But then again, for every other non-ending A in Bulletin, you are taking some cost there. So you want to look at the cost there, but to me it's more straightforward. No real minus for going after ending A, but theoretically it's on a balanced scale. But at that point, it's RNG. Like I said, when I was talking about bad things could happen in the forest, that's RNG based. So there's that. Bulletin, pretty straightforward. As for Akamanto, or Cape, which is the next alphabetically, it is a guaranteed boss encounter. The difference is that I would normally choose to go for ending A anyway, because you're probably listening to the rumors on that, though. You probably don't want to burn the school down, so if you have Mermaids and Cape in the same run, then, well, yeah, you don't want to burn the school down, otherwise you can't do ending A, unless that's what you plan to do. But on Knight-Errant, granted if you don't do Akamanto ending A, you get the mask that removes 10 doom, but on Knight-Errant your doom increases by 7, so it's kind of not worth it at that point in my mind. If you go for non-ending A, along with the 5 stamina damage, so assuming you don't die in Akamanto for trying to get a non-ending A, then yeah, you're taking stamina damage plus the Overall, you decrease Doom by 3 if you use the mask. If you don't use the mask, then you're just taking 7% Doom damage anyway. So that's why I usually choose to go for Akamanto there. And it synergizes well with some ending A's depending on your mystery combination. So we're gonna go on to Coma. Coma is bugged right now, but when it is working, Coma is one because Cape has Akamanto, Coma has Dream Devour, but for Dream Devour, I would skip out on this. I would take the -3 reason hit, which is what will happen when you don't do ending A. But if you go for ending A, Dream Devour does -2 all base, so if you're not going for the quickest way you can do it without much preparation is to sacrifice the patience anyway, but that's 6 reason damage on top of the 2 all damage it's doing per turn. Even if you had Kana, you're taking a lot of damage, so that versus the 7% Doom plus -3 reason loss if you do a non-ending A, then yeah, that's worth it in my opinion, because Dream Devourer is doing minus all damage. And if you're using Yashiro, then your Fate's going to take a big hit. Some people like to do minus Fate, but that's in a whole nother conversation together. So, like I said, that's Coma. Right now it's bugged, so you might as well go for non-ending A because you don't get penalized. When you do get penalized, I would still go for it because, well, it's more damage going for Dream Devourer. As for Eels, which is what I'm in right now, most people would take Kana, I would assume. If you take Eels first, you're usually always taking Kana. The reason is because Kana mitigates damage. So overall, even with the 7%... if you get Kana, you're not taking 7% Doom. So that's actually something in its favor. Otherwise, when you're doing Kana and you're doing Eels first, you do ending A, it's easier to ending A, as with a few other mysteries, because, well, you're saving Kana. Granted, you are losing -3 reason, but if you're taking Eels first and you get Kana, then you're mitigating more damage in encounters overall. You do lose 3 reason, but that's worth it in the long run. If you take Eels, say, 4th or 5th, though, and you want to sacrifice her, because I'm sure that strat exists for some people, but you are taking 7% Doom on Knight-Errant, so do realize that's happening. Of course, you do save 3 reason for not getting Kana, but I recommend you take Eels first and get Kana anyway, unless you're doing certain builds and whatnot. Like, say I'm Yashiro and I'm using On Your Own, then maybe, but even then. So that's Eels. Festival is like Eels, easier to do ending A. If you don't do ending A, you're ultimately hurting yourself, I believe, because you lose, I think, 3 reason at the end of a non-A festival. And you're stuck in the forest anyway, so you're doing more investigations which hurt you in the long run. The only reason you wouldn't go for ending A in festival is if you really need to heal right away and you're about to die. And I've run into situations like that, but even then you have time in the second phase of festival to do forced investigation. So I don't really foresee a time when you're not getting ending A. Some people can say I'm wrong, but or say otherwise. Maybe there is a strat, but I normally don't. It's easier to do ending A. That way you avoid the 7% Doom on Knight-Errant anyway. So that's Festival. Footage, you need a can of acid. This one's when I actually looked at it on paper, it's interesting, because if you get the can of acid right away, going into hardware store, and I believe Illegal Den has it too, if you're the type to use Illegal Den. But if you go to the hardware store and immediately get a can of acid, resource-wise, that's more efficient, because you get the can of acid, which is 2 funds, and then it costs 4% Doom to go to the hardware store. I'm probably forgetting that you have to, if you need the items from the side quest, then I guess it kind of balances out. However, if you don't, then it is a little bit more efficient, because if you don't do ending A, then, well, that's 7% Doom next to the 4% Doom, and funds are usually a non-resource for some people anyway, so yeah, 4% Doom if you're on that track. Although, personally, I choose to non-ending A hell anyway, because I don't want to rely on having to get a can of acid, because if I don't get it, and you have to reroll, then you've spent 7% Doom anyway. But at that point, you've kind of gone all in, so you're also losing 2 funds for getting the can of acid. Because if you just give up and reroll twice and just buy something else, then you're taking 7% more Doom from Knight-Errant. So that's how footage is going to work, along with the side investigations, if you do need the items to do. Otherwise, like I said, it's all based on the can of acid RNG. I choose not to ending A. Hell is the second most complicated mystery right after Botanist in my opinion, because you need both a flashlight and an ally. Of course, this depends on your mystery configuration. If, say, you have Festival and you decide to do Festival before Hell, then at the very least you can maybe try to look for an ally in the Festival. But since you don't need a unique ally, if, say, you have Akamanto instead, you can do Akamanto before Hell and get an ally from the school while you're doing the side quest. That way you're trying to be efficient. Otherwise, well, I personally choose to go off of Hell, not get ending A, and just take the 7%, because having to get a flashlight and an ally on top of that, it depends on the mystery configuration, but usually I choose to do it. And if I'm really lazy, then I just choose not to ending A, and I just at least know I'm just going to take 7% Doom. If you need the items for Hell, then yeah, that's an extra 2 investigations you have to do as well on top of that. If I'm, say I'm Yashiro here and I'm using the heavy-duty flashlight, then I guess you don't really... I could go for Hell, but I do need an ally at some point. So, Hell, I normally skip as well. Mermaids is an interesting one, because like Akamanto, it's a forced boss encounter. However, in Mermaids, you can avoid the boss, but that's a non-ending A on Knight-Errant, so you get plus 7% Doom. The reason why I consider usually taking ending A on Mermaids if I have Knight-Errant is because, well, in Knight-Errant, you don't get 7% Doom for defeating the boss, and the boss of Mermaids only does stamina damage, so you can kind of try to work around the fact, at least it's not doing all damage, so you don't have to pay attention to your reason. You only need to pay attention to your stamina, which for some characters you can just kill the Mad Janitor. You'll take a lot of stamina damage, but you'll not get 7% Doom penalty for killing the boss there. And you get the Fire Axe, which in my mind weighs more towards wanting to get ending A. Of course, if it's not feasible on the run I'm in, then I will probably just, I'll probably just avoid, and I'll just take the burns and heal it in the hospital and take the 7% Doom, because then either I know I'll end up dying to the Mad Janitor if I'm in a bad way, otherwise I'll say maybe I'm taking too much stamina damage and I don't want to deal with this. So that's Mermaids. And again, you have to remember Mermaids, you need to get ending A if you're going for Botanist anyway, so all the things you need to consider for mystery combinations. As for Ramen and Sailors are the next alphabetically, but since they're near the same for getting ending A, then yeah, you need 2 items for Ramen and Sailors. If you have both of them, then you need 4 items. The problem is when you don't want to throw any of your items away. In this case, I'd be just fine because, well, I picked up a bunch of broken bottle and branches from the Burning Man encounter. However, if that was not the case, then I would need to consider, well, okay, maybe I'm playing Yashiro. Do I want to throw the bronze crucifix away? Because if I do, then that's one item I can throw away. Then I just need to throw away something else. Maybe I have school and I can get the baseball bat. Theoretically, Ramen and Sailors is easy to do ending A. However, if you don't have the items to throw away, then you know that you're taking 7% Doom damage. And in the case of Ramen, maybe you just bumblefish and accidentally click the wrong option at the end, and then you just take 7% Doom, and you have a piece of smelly meat in your inventory that you can just store, but, So that's Ramen and Sailors. Both ending A's are the same, but whether you can do it in your run or not, it's a whole different story. Moving on to Scissors. Scissors is another one, like Festival in my mind. It's easier to do ending A, because, well, you want to do the ritual right. If you don't do the ritual right, that's 7% Doom, and the Scissor Lady has more HP. Granted, if you have a katana with you, then you can do anything you want, but if you don't do ending A, even if you're using the katana and you kill her without doing the ritual right, that's 7% Doom you're taking. So make it easier on yourself. Unless for some reason you burn the school down, then you're in kind of a pickle, but maybe it's easier to do ending A, in my opinion. As for Vigil, Vigil is the second interesting one, because the boss at the end does Doom damage, but you need to defeat the boss to do ending A. I would assume on average maybe you would want to do ending A because, well, even if the boss does Doom damage and it has an increase, you can brace and go for hits. The problem is that the boss has a bunch of HP, so if you can't kill the boss in a timely manner in Vigil, then you're taking almost near enough the same Doom damage as if you failed the Vigil. And the encounters for failing Vigil specifically aren't too punishing, but usually in my mind, if you see most of my runs, I do the Vigil and then skip the boss. However, with Knight-Errant, I might fight the boss, but the difference is that what my situation is when I run into the boss. If I know that I have the weapon, say I have a katana, or I'm loaded out with the heavy-duty flashlight here, then maybe I want to fight the boss and kill him in a timely manner. Take Vigil first, because on the 4th and 5th mystery, Vigil, the boss, will be doing 1 extra doom damage, and yeah, that's not great. Otherwise, I would just sacrifice the guess if I want a guaranteed 7% doom. If I'm prepared, maybe I'll fight the boss. And maybe I should start doing that more. But it all depends on how much doom you think you'll be taking based on your current situation when you're at the point in Vigil. Or before Vigil, if you're deciding whether or not you want to do the Vigil at all. One last thing I forgot to actually go over is the inspiring novel that you get for playing with the Knight-Errant backstory. Plus 2 damage until the end of the mystery. So keeping in mind that you do have this, you can throw this away for Ramen or Sailors for an extra item to throw away. If you have a lot of boss encounters, then you can use this to defeat bosses like the Mad Janitor or the Dream Devourer if you so happen to do ending A. I've talked about it already. If you want to fight the Vigil boss, then Inspiring Novel is very useful here. It's an all-around, pretty much and it is the boon to your Knight-Errant. Again, you could also sell it for 2 funds, which you can use to buy a can of acid. You can use these 2 funds to buy the heavy-duty flashlight for both Hell and the Lighthouse. Overall, Panstaz, I think, did a good job with the Inspiring Novel's design as related to the Knight-Errant backstory. So, yeah, do keep in mind, I didn't talk about it in terms of mystery, but that's because the item itself is overall useful for all mysteries in Knight-Errant. So yeah, keep in mind about that. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to re-roll about 3 times and kind of go over what my strategy would be if I'm running Knight-Errant with Yoggothag. And if I have Yoggothag, in my mind it's mainly just more doom gain, so we're mainly looking at Knight-Errant. So Eels, Sailors, Arms, Vigil, Footage. In my mind, I'm already thinking, okay, this is moderately easy. Footage, yeah, I could go for a can of acid. And since the rest of these are moderately easy, I need 2 items for Sailors. Arms is self-explanatory, and Eels is pretty easy. So I'd probably go Eels, Arms. I take these 2 before Sailors because maybe I think I'm going to get some items while I'm doing the investigations here. And the more mysteries you put before Sailors, the more chance you get. Maybe I'll take Vigil before Sailors as well, because I know I'm going to get a Meat Cleaver. That's another item I could throw away for Sailors. And then maybe I take Footage last to try to save up funds. Otherwise, if I have Tree unlocked, maybe I'm just going to use the Tree for funds and then do Sailors. So here, Knight-Errant is going to be more a non-issue for me, minus the RNG of events and whatnot. But that's my mind going into that combination of mysteries. Take another one. Ooh, Miku again. Why? So yeah, next 5, Scissors, Mermaids, Hell, Eels, Botanist. Alright, so now we have it's the spiciest one. Mermaids into Botanist. Even so, some people might be thinking, ooh, I can do ending A for everything. But as I mentioned for Botanist, you're taking a bunch of stamina and reason damage. On a True Believer run, that's not something I'm willing to do. Granted, I do have Eels, so I could Kana into Mermaids, into Botanist, and at some point Scissors, because if you're going to do Mermaids ending A, you don't have to worry about burning the school down. Otherwise, and we have Hell. So in my mind, these 3 together are the pretty big oof of Knight-Errant, because Hell, you need an ally and a flashlight. You could try to prepare all of them in Eels, because, well, Eels, you get Kana, and you have damage mitigation for whatever mysteries you have. Then maybe I'd go Eels, Mermaids into Botanist if I was really going for ending A. And then Scissors, Scissor Lady is doing extra 1 damage. And then Hell, so that maybe I get another ally so I don't have to worry about sacrifices. And at this point, I should have more than enough funds. If I wasn't going for ending A, I might just take Botanist here, or Scissors first, and then do these 2 mysteries before Mermaids, burn the school down, go into Hell, probably as my last mystery, and then heal the burns in here. Eels I'll probably take first just for the damage mitigation. Otherwise, if I do Eels first, I might even consider taking Mermaids. That way I can kill the Mad Janitor with the Kana mitigation, and that's that. So again, you want to go full ending A, be my guest, but just be prepared to do that. Otherwise, my personal favorite is to just take Eels first, do the damage mitigation, and know I'm probably taking either around 14%-ish Doom, maybe 7%, because Botanist would be the only one. last but not least, I'll do one last reroll. Footage, Cape, Akamanto, Botanist, Scissors, Ramen. So here I know I'm going to take 7% because I have Botanist by itself. Scissors, I want to kill the Scissor Lady. I am Kyrie, so maybe I want to take the Scissors instead, but Scissors procs Doom, and this is a non-ending A if you go for Scissors, so that's going to be 14% Doom in this run. Ramen should be pretty easy, because I'd probably sacrifice the Bat from Scissors. What else would I do? Footage, I would probably need to buy an item at some point. If anything, I'd probably take Ramen last, because it's a quote-unquote safe mystery for me. So I know I can do all these investigations first. That's around at least 20 investigations. Then maybe I have another item that I can pair with the baseball bat, and then throw away those items in Ramen to get ending A. That way I only take 7% Doom, 14% Doom if I skip footage, and then whatever happens in between. Of course, in Ramen, if I do all these 4 mysteries first, maybe I run into Burning Man or Dullness. But if not, then, because if I run into those 2, then I have Broken Bottles and Branches to throw away, as you saw in the run I was doing with Yashiro. And I should be fine. Like I said, to me, this is as 14% Doom. For everyone else, if you do footage, that is 4% Doom plus the can of acid. So 10% Doom, 2 funds, if you strategize that long and hard. So there's that. So that was my impression on Knight-Errant backstory with all the mysteries and a couple of combinations, because obviously when you go into a True Believer run, you want to look at all the mysteries together and kind of plan out your strategy from there. Or you could just brute force and not think about it and be lazy, which is what I like to do sometimes. So, you know, but that was the video. If you have anything to say, if you have anything on what strats I did, if that opened anyone's eyes, or if you just want to leave a comment, feel free to put so in a comment in the section below. If you want to support me, you know how to support me, and if you made it this far in the video, I'd like to thank you for watching. I do plan to do a series on the a sit-down and review of the Fish God in its own separate video, which is why this video is kind of cut up as it is. But if you made it this far, I'd like to thank you for watching. I do plan to make more World of Horror content in the future. And this is Jared and MML. I won't take any more of your time. I'm out.